Tonight, look up. The moon is exactly where it's supposed to be. Same size, same silver glow, same face it's shown you your entire life. Nothing about it looks different than it did last night, or last year, or the night you were born. But here's what nobody told you. It's leaving. Not fast. Not in a way you'll ever notice. But every single year, the moon pulls away from Earth by about 3.8 centimeters. That's roughly the width of your thumb. It sounds like nothing. It isn't nothing. Because the moon isn't just a rock hanging in the sky for you to admire. It's the reason you exist the way you do. And it's been drifting away since the day it was born. Let's go back to the beginning. About 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was young, molten, and alone. Then something the size of Mars slammed into it. Astronomers call this hypothetical object Theia. The collision was so violent it liquefied part of the planet and blasted a ring of debris into orbit. That debris didn't scatter into space. It clumped. Within a few thousand years, maybe less, it formed a sphere. Your moon. At that point, the moon wasn't some distant companion. It was close. Terrifyingly close. Some estimates put it at only 15 to 25,000 kilometers away, compared to the roughly 384,000 kilometers separating you from it now. Imagine that in the sky. The moon wouldn't be a coin held at arm's length. It would swallow the horizon. It would look close enough to touch. And it wasn't gentle. That early moon dragged tides across a young, mostly molten Earth that dwarfed anything you've seen at a beach. Some researchers estimate those early tides may have reached heights of a kilometer or more, twice a day, every day. The ground itself would have flexed under the pull, cracking and reshaping as the two bodies wrestled with each other's gravity. So why is it leaving now? The answer is friction. Earth's oceans slosh around as the planet spins, and the moon's gravity tugs on that water, creating tidal bulges. But Earth spins faster than the moon orbits, so those bulges get dragged slightly ahead of where the moon actually sits. That misaligned bulge pulls on the moon like an invisible tether, giving it a tiny boost of energy with every rotation. That boost pushes the moon a little farther out. Physicists call this tidal acceleration, and it's not a theory. NASA has measured it directly. Since 1969, astronauts have left retroreflectors on the lunar surface, mirrors that bounce laser beams straight back to observatories on Earth. Scientists fire lasers at the moon, time how long the light takes to return, and calculate the distance down to the centimeter. That's how we know. 3.8 centimeters a year, every year, like clockwork. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. As the moon drains that energy from Earth, it's also slowing Earth's spin down. 400 million years ago, a day on Earth wasn't 24 hours. It was closer to 21. You'd have squeezed in the same number of hours you sleep now, but the sun would have set faster, risen faster, cycled through an entire day before you'd finished a modern workday. Fossilized coral from that era actually shows daily growth rings, and counting them reveals there were about 420 days in a year back then. Not because the year was longer, because each day was shorter. The moon has been quietly stretching your days out since before anything with eyes existed to notice. And this isn't just some cosmic footnote. That tidal relationship, the wobble, the drag, the slow breaking of Earth's spin, may be one of the reasons complex life exists on this planet at all. Think about what tides actually do. Twice a day, they expose and then submerge the boundary between ocean and land. Some biologists argue that this constant flooding and draining created a natural laboratory, a zone where organisms had to adapt to survive both underwater and exposed to air. That kind of pressure doesn't just kill weak organisms, it forces evolutionary experimentation. Some researchers have proposed that tidal pools were a critical stepping stone for the transition of life from ocean to land, hundreds of millions of years before the first fish crawled onto a beach. There's also the tilt. Earth spins on a 23.5-degree axis, and that tilt is why you get seasons, why summer and winter exist, why the whole planet doesn't turn into a single frozen or scorched wasteland. But a planet's axial tilt isn't naturally stable. Without something large and close nearby to stabilize it gravitationally, a planet's tilt can wobble chaotically over millions of years. Some models of Mars suggest its axis has swung by tens of degrees over its history, because Mars only has two tiny distant moons, nowhere close to massive enough to lock it in place. Earth has the moon, and the moon's mass, close enough and heavy enough, may have kept your planet's tilt locked into a narrow, stable range for billions of years. Stable seasons, stable climate zones, a stable enough environment for something like you to eventually show up. So if the moon has been quietly leaving this entire time, what happens when it's gone? You don't have to worry about it disappearing. The math doesn't work that way. As the moon drifts farther, the tidal forces driving that drift get weaker because gravity fades with distance. Eventually, in roughly 50 billion years, the system would reach equilibrium, with Earth's day and the moon's orbit locking into the same length. But here's the twist. The sun is expected to swell into a red giant and consume Earth long before that ever happens. So the moon will never actually get free. It's drifting toward an ending that will never arrive, at least not on Earth's own terms. But that doesn't mean nothing changes for you. As the moon inches away, its gravitational grip on Earth's oceans weakens slightly. Tides get subtly less extreme over vast timescales. Earth's rotation keeps slowing, meaning future days will keep getting longer. And that axial stability the moon provides? It doesn't vanish overnight. But over hundreds of millions of years, as the moon's stabilizing pull continues to weaken, some models suggest Earth's tilt could become more volatile than the calm, predictable seasons you've always known. None of this touches your lifetime. None of this touches your grandchildren's lifetime. But it's happening right now, above your head, every single night. So the next time you look up at the moon, you're not looking at something fixed and eternal. You're watching a slow-motion departure that started 4.5 billion years ago and won't finish before the sun ends everything anyway. You're looking at the object that shortened your days from a violent 21-hour spin into the 24 hours you now take for granted. You're looking at the reason your seasons don't swing into chaos. You're looking, in a very real sense, at one of the reasons you exist in a body capable of standing outside and looking up at all. Tonight, the moon is exactly where it's supposed to be. But it always is, right up until, one measured centimeter at a time, it isn't.